welcome to the replay viewers. Really happy to have you here. Today, I'm excited to have a guest on my live, another guest. Been talking to some friends I have in this metaphysical, better understanding of life community. And yeah, I'm happy to have some, what's the word I want? Just some conversations with a guest, I guess. I was trying to think of a better way to say it, but it wasn't coming. So yeah, we're going to be speaking about holding our desires lightly. So I feel that this day and age, a lot more people are aware of the word manifesting, and have somewhat of an understanding of what it means, and it's really cool. Like I remember even like 2 summers ago, there was some ad on Alexa, by Amazon, and it was saying, like, what kind of summer experience are you going to manifest? And I was like, oh, that's really cool that I'm hearing the word manifest on like an Amazon Alexa ad.
Yeah, it seems like
And
it's become much more mainstream and you hear manifestation in a lot of different places.
yeah, and I also, because I've been studying this for a while, and I know Amanda has too. I also just see a lot of I guess mixed interpretations is the way I'll put it. And I still see a lot of, I guess, hustle conversation involved with it, which is fine because, as you'll learn, as you better understand that you're the creator of your reality, kind of whatever you say you want it to be, you'll get more of. So if you do feel you need to hustle, then, that'll be your experience. And there's this whole realm of holding our desires lightly and letting the universe work things out, or our higher selves, our souls work things out in just a much more elaborate way where we just kind of let go and allow. And so that's what Amanda and I will be addressing today. Just, if we want to, we can let things occur with more ease, if that feels good. So that's the idea. And having said that, welcome, Amanda Towne. Thank you for being here with me. And yeah, feel free to introduce yourself however you'd like.
Thank you. Thanks. It's great to be here with you, Tim. Yeah, my name is Amanda Towne. So I'm in Miami Beach. I'm call myself a transformation coach that really involves a lot of different things, working with emotions, releasing resistance, and manifesting. Drawing in those things into your life that you do want and having a life of ease and freedom. That's what I've been building for myself and what I'm doing now with clients, and it's so fun. It's so satisfying and fulfilling.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I love it. I actually had Amanda on my podcast not too long ago, and we were talking about the subject of contrast, which is another big element in terms of just life in general, and also manifestation and crafting your desires. So I've had the honor of speaking with Amanda before, and I'm happy to be speaking with her again. And yeah, so today the focus is, and we'll probably follow the flow wherever it goes, but the focus is, holding our desires lightly. So I'll just start and yeah, I'll just offer, what does that mean to you, Amanda, like holding our desires lightly?
Yeah. Well, and I love what you led into with there's a lot of manifestation out there that seems more like the hustle and, you know, it's kind of a work and doing processes and things. And it is good to have processes, but it's all about feeling good and following the feeling. It's not so much about the action. And so having that light desire to me is about getting in the feeling of it and letting it go, because there's also some out there that, oh, just keep thinking about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. And for most of the time you'll notice if you keep thinking about something over and over, you're probably in that gap of the lack of it.
Mm.
So you want that light desire too. It's a beautiful place to be, to have that clarity of desire, and then you release it, and that, because then it's just allowing. Once you've asked, there's really nothing else for you to do except allow. and that's about being in the feeling and enjoying life and having fun and being in that ease. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's why I wanted to do this episode because, or this broadcast with this focus, is because I've just seen so many examples of that. Um, and and also, as I know that we've channeled some of the same, or we've studied some of the same channeled teachings, and then I also, I offer sessions as a channel, so I get a lot of good information coming through, and I know you do your own automatic writings and things like that, and so I know we both have a lot of like information coming through, and we've studied a lot of very potent information, and and I just have to say, like, I'm always like just so delighted when I actually watch myself just hold a desire very lightly, and it's just like, that would just be nice. I just kind of like
Mhm.
marinate in it for just like, a few seconds. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And then I just, like just it just drifts off, and I just kind of and what I've noticed, and maybe you have your own experience with this, but what I've noticed is that when I do hold something very lightly, just kind of like marinate in like the thought or like a picture of it for a few seconds and then let it go, what I've noticed for me is that usually it's stuff that I don't equate as being that big of a deal. I'm just
Yes.
like, like not really a big deal if this happens or not, but I really love the thought and the feeling of it. And so I just like go there, and then it's easy for me to let it go because I'm just like, whatever.
Mhm.
It was just nice to think about it. And those are the ones that I see come by themselves. All of a
Yes.
sudden, like maybe the next day, I'm just like, oh, that came to me.
Yeah. It is so true. Those things, because it's that light thought, you don't have the resistance about it because it's that resistance that holds it away, or you're not thinking about, well, where is it, or thinking being in that kind of gap space. Yeah, it's so
Yeah, the
good.
figuring it out or how must I make it
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
You're literally just like, it's just like the letting go and just like kind of like almost just like, no matter what, I'll be okay. But I do love the feeling of that. But there is that absolute letting go, which, like you said, there's no resistance with that. So then it just
Mhm.
like, and then, I see these things come in and I'm just like, oh yeah, it came in with so much ease. I didn't have to figure anything out. I didn't plan. I didn't list any actions. Like literally, it just shows up in my world. And so I'll give an example because I know examples are helpful. So actually, I mean, I have a lot of examples at this point of how I let certain things be really easy.
Hmm.
And two of them just happened in the past like 48 hours.
Wow.
Oh, hi, Armand. Thank you for being here. Armand
Oh.
left us a lot of hearts.
Aw.
uh, Thanks for being here, Armand. Appreciate you. If you have any reflections, if you're going to be here for a minute, if you have any reflections or questions, of course, we're open to all of that. So we love Armand. uh, and so, yeah, just in the past like 48 hours, hola to you too, and many hearts back. Yeah, just the past 48 hours, there was two different times where, I had some spaciousness in my day, some wide open space, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, I said, I'm craving a connection. Armand says, I'm in a break, but loving all over you.
Aw.
Thank you, Armand. Hope you enjoy your break. Uh, yeah, so I think it was 2 evenings ago. I was just sitting there with like wide open space, and I was just like, I'm really craving connection this evening. Like, I really am desiring connection. And the way this one worked out was that probably like 4 days prior, I had reached out to a friend and I said, would you like to catch up? And they took like a day or two to get back to me. But when they did get back to me, they were like, oh, I have family in town. So, maybe
Mhm.
later this week could work out. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be fine. And so, just let it go because that's their schedule. And so, yeah, like probably like 4 or 5 days later, I'm just sitting there kind of after dinner. I'm just like, okay, this evening, like, what am I desiring for this evening? And I was just like, oh, like I would love just connection. Connection would be so good. And I'm not even kidding. Like 2 moments later, that friend texted. They're like, hey, So I can catch up this evening if you like.
Yeah. Those are super fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like, and that's where it's like the instant, right? Because like I was
Hmm.
just feeling into like this would feel so good, and like that one was absolutely instant because it was just like, hey, I'm ready now.
Yes. And you could probably tell the difference in the vibration of from a because if it had been from a kind of a lonely thing of like needing that connection and again being in that gap, then there would have been resistance. But it was just, it was a very light, like, oh yeah, this would be really nice. And so it's that vibration where it can just bam, happen so quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious, any stories come to mind for you where it just you just saw how easy it was? You're like, oh, that was just so easy.
Yes. Well, and I love the ones that you even forget about. And
Mm,
so this last week, I had a friend that came and stayed with me out of the blue. She actually was on her way to the Abraham Hicks Caribbean cruise, which leaves from Fort Lauderdale, which is just 45 minutes north of me. And she missed the boat by 15 minutes.
mm,
So she had to make arrangements with them to fly to the first destination and pick up the boat there, which was going to be on Thursday, and it was Monday of last week. And so I was delighted. She got to come and stay with me for almost 3 days. We had talked before the cruise, and I said, I would love to see you. And she said, I would too. Unfortunately, I already made my plane tickets and I didn't schedule any extra time on the front or back. But she ended up staying with me for 3 days. And I also I'm doing this mastermind group right now. It's the art of manifesting. And one of the first things we did in this is we did this visioning process. I have everyone do a little meditation and then they draw a picture instead of a vision board. You're drawing what you want, and you don't have to be an artist because I'm certainly not. A lot of it ends up being stick figures, but it's okay. You're using that creative part of your mind and you're creating it. And what actually this morning I looked at that my picture again because this is an 8 week mastermind, so we're in week 4. So I was looking at it for some reason this morning. I was moving papers around, and I saw on that visioning I had drawn a a stick figure of Gudrun and with her sound bowls on the beach because we've also talked about doing a retreat together in New York where she lives and one in Miami. And I was like, "Oh, I had that thought of seeing her, and she showed up last week and ended up staying with me." And it was beautiful. It was so much fun. And she even said while she was here, "This is even better than being on the first part of the cruise because we got to go to the beach and the
mhm.
spa and hang out together and cook together, and we felt like we had our own little workshop here."
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what stands out to me about that is that, I feel like traditionally, and the way that a lot of us were taught to react to life as opposed to take a moment and respond, there could have been like, oh, this is so inconvenient. Like,
Yeah.
I paid to be on that ship, and, all these
Mhm.
different things about like, woe is me. And there's a perspective of like, okay, like this happened for a reason, like, okay, let's pause and see what's going on here. And then after that few days with you, which wasn't planned, but it's just what, sounds like the best move based on what did
Mhm.
end up happening. That's where your friend ended up is like, this actually was better. Like this was,
Yes.
I'm still gonna get to be on the ship for how many days, but actually like this first part was better. Like,
Mhm.
when we pause and like, okay, like something it's different than what I expected. Okay, but like let me just stay open and see what actually is like wants to happen here.
Yes. Yes. And it is even looking back now, it's in the unfolding and how it happened, and even seeing, oh, I did have that on my visioning. And I just, like I said, I forgot about it till I actually looked at it this morning. And she did say, of course she had that moment of seeing the boat going away and she just missed it,
Yeah,
of the disappointment.
yeah,
But then she quickly was like, "Oh, I can call Amanda." And she did. She got on the phone right away. And so they were at the port and she said, "Okay, here's the address. Take me to Miami Beach." And so then it was, she quickly was able to pivot and it was even better.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, just so many stories. I'm thinking of stories of like friends and like actually an Eckhart Tolle story that comes to mind. Just again of how like people had these desires and just in the letting go, like all of a sudden, like the desire is like standing in their face. The
Yeah.
um, the one that comes to mind about Eckhart Tolle, I feel like maybe I actually told this one on the Contrast podcast that we recorded. That I just remember that he talks about. I saw him once in a like a YouTube video or something, sharing his story of how like many years before he wrote The Power of Now, or at least several, I think it was a good amount of time before, he had written down like in a notebook. He said, I want to serve millions of people, or a lot of people. It was like a big number of people, however he phrased it. He said, I want to be wealthy, and
Mhm.
I think he said something, like, uh, I want to write like a best-selling book or like a widely embraced book, something like that. And so it was, like the gist was like, I want to help people. I want to write a book that gets out there, and like I want to be wealthy. It was really cool to hear Eckhart just like say that too, like I want to be wealthy.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like,
Yeah,
oh, that's not spiritual.
yeah,
It's
exactly. So yeah,
everything.
it's oh, what was that?
Every it's. I was just saying, it's some people will be like, oh, well, that's not spiritual to want money, but
Yeah,
everything is
yeah.
spiritual, even money and wealth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just so cool because yeah, he's often looked at as kind of like one of the most enlightened people, in the
Hmm.
public arena. And so yeah, it was really cool to yeah, see Eckhart be like, yeah, I want to be wealthy too.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. And so he just kind of wrote those desires in a notebook, and I think the way the story went is like 7 years later, he was either just clearing stuff out in a room or getting ready for a move, something like that. And he was going through boxes and he picked up that notebook and, that same notebook that he had written those things in
Yeah.
like 7 years ago.
Hmm.
And when he looked at the notebook, he was just like, huh, this has all happened.
Yeah. How fun.
Because by that point, he had written, The Power of Now, and it became a bestseller and all
Hmm.
those things. And
Yeah.
I know when bought a I bought a used paperback version of the book like many years ago, and it had a sticker on it that said, like 5 million copies sold, and that was like probably even like 7 or 8 years ago. So who knows how many copies it sold now, but but yeah, like he was just like, he kind of the impression of the story was he just wrote them down, and just so kind of the way I took it was that he wanted to be clear within himself, like this is important to me, this is important to me. I would like this, and then
Hmm.
yeah, life unfolded, and 7 years later, he's just like, oh yeah, this happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing of sometimes you even forget that, oh yeah, I did say that I wanted that. And not that you don't have the clarity, but again, it's that lightness of letting it go. And yeah, I had something where I had planned a vacation with someone. It was this catamaran trip for two people in St. Thomas, and we couldn't go because of COVID. And then he actually, it was someone I was dating, and he actually broke up with me right after that. And I thought, oh, I really wanted to go on that trip. And 18 months later, out of the blue, he texts me and says, I can't go on this trip. Do you want it? Like, he was just giving it to me, this a catamaran for two people in the Virgin Islands for a week. And of, of course I wanted it. So I said yes. I took it, and it was something I definitely had a desire for it, but I had just let it go. And sometimes it's when you let go of that resistance, things will come back around, and there's nothing you need to do. It's just it will come to you. You're in that allowing mode, and knowing it's already done.
Yeah, that's a really important point is just the thing of resistance, how resisting is actually like holding things out, like experiences, whatever, conversations,
Hmm.
opportunities. And not to say that we need to judge ourselves for that, but it's just being aware that to me the resistance is that like, it's all on me, so I need to figure this out. It's all on
Yeah.
me, so I need to force
Hmm.
this into existence. It's all on me. How do I push things in my material world so that I can get them to come together in the way that I want them to?
Hmm.
And that's like the
Yes, and that's
resistance.
what holds it away of like, how am I going to make this happen? I need to do something. That's what holds it away.
Yeah, and you could say that in that case, we're not a vibrational match because, as you've been saying, then we're in the gap. Then we're saying,
Hmm.
I don't have it. And most likely in that energy, there's like a neediness. I need this to be like okay, or I need this to feel a certain way. And so, from
Yes.
that like clingy or neediness or desperation, it's
Hmm.
kind of like this grasping. And this is advanced metaphysics. But if you're grasping for it, that's an
Yeah.
energetic statement that you don't have it.
Yes. Oh, and I love that you bring up the feeling of it. And something just came to me also. I just got back a couple of weeks ago from a whale trip to the Baja of
Mhm.
Mexico. And it was something I followed a desire, and we got together a group of people, and then Sherilyn Jones led this amazing, amazing whale adventure. And one of the things she talked about is that being centered in your body, being present in the now moment. Because if you are, okay, whales, I need you, I want you, I want to touch you,
Uh,
that will repel them. But if
mm,
you are present and authentic, they will come up to you. And they did over and over and over. And
oh,
I have some amazing pictures and videos of it. And also with this mastermind group, and I do this also outside of the mastermind group, is what I call tuning to emotions. And so we had been tuning to emotions every morning. And some of the emotions that I love to tune to are loved, appreciated, and adored. And so that's outward and inward, loving and appreciating and adoring and receiving that. And also, when I look back at that whale adventure, I felt so loved, adored, and appreciated by those
oh,
whales. And I was loving and appreciating and adoring them. So it's that feeling, and it's really a genuine feeling and vibration. It's as Abraham says, putting a happy face sticker on it. If you're just faking it, of course animals can tell, the whales can tell you if you're faking it. But when you're authentic about how you're feeling and it's in your vibration, that's when those things like are happening quickly. Things are coming to you. And yeah, it really is. It's about the feeling, and being okay too when you're not in that joy and happiness, allowing that too. I could go on and on about this whale trip because there were so many amazing things. But that was one of the things too, of a lot of things came up. People were releasing emotions. I know for me, we called it the crying bench in the back of the van. Every day we were just, it just brought up a lot of emotion, and just being okay with it, and whatever
oh,
you're feeling wherever you are, because there's so much power in that. There's so much power in the energy of emotions moving, not resisting it, not holding it back, not shaming yourself like, "Oh, I'm here, I should be in joy." Like, "Oh, something's coming up and I'm just going to feel it and let it let it pass through. I don't even really know what it is, but it's coming up. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna release it and let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important too, because again, in terms of the being a vibrational match, and that's what I loved. One of the things I loved about your story is that, it's being in the state of having already, and that's what
Yes.
allows us to be a match in many cases. So you and your friends, it sounds like, were imagining that, connecting with the whales would feel like love and adoration and appreciation. And so you were like
Mhm.
tuning yourselves to those feelings first, and then you allowed the vibrational match, in physical reality, which was the experience of the whales coming up
Yeah,
to you. So like you
absolutely.
practice being in the feelings first, the having of the feelings first, because
Hmm.
this is something that comes up in vibrational teachings all the time. It's like it's the feelings that we're actually calling in.
Yes.
It's like we're calling in feelings, and then the feelings align with experiences or what have you. But it's like it's the feeling that we're really looking to welcome into our body,
Mhm.
and so yeah, the feeling comes first, as we know. So I loved that, and then yeah, and then also just yeah, the allowing, because to me, one of the ways that we do just become a match for so many more things, so many more lovely things in life, is by releasing energy. Yeah, just energy that just we don't need to hold on to anymore, because throughout our lives, for whatever reason, in a lot of Western cultures, we were taught to repress things,
Mhm.
like, sweep things under the rug, and like, nobody needs to talk about that. And so many of us became like experts at repressing, emotions and energies. So yeah, as
Absolutely.
things just come up natural in the now moment, and we're willing to be like, okay, like I can be with this, I can allow this, instead of trying to push it down yet again, repress it yet again, when it's really had its chance to express, then it can move on. And typically, what I find for myself and other people say is when we really let something present itself and be seen and witnessed and then move on, like almost always afterwards, people just say, and now I just feel lighter,
Yes.
just feel lighter
Yes.
now.
It's so true. And when you allow that without resistance, it usually moves very quickly.
Yeah.
It's not like, because I think some people are afraid, oh, if I feel that, I might get stuck in it.
Mm.
Well, and that's not the case. If you let yourself feel it, it actually will pass very quickly.
Yeah. And it's like the resistance, the judgment, and the fear is what I find
Yes.
actually causes the getting stuck. It's like, it's
Yes. Yeah.
either I don't want this, what's wrong with me for having this?
Mhm.
How long is this going to take?
Yes. I don't have time to feel this. I
Yeah,
don't
and
want to,
that's what
and I don't have
caused,
time. Yeah.
yeah, to me, that's what causes the stuckness, is just like, I don't want you, go away.
Yes. It
Uh,
absolutely is.
yeah, so allowing really is, and just the non-judgment, because I know just, as people begin to understand higher vibrations and all of that, like it can be tempting just to assume that always should be the case. And what I've just found for me is that, the awakening process, just to who we really are as consciousness and energy and all of
Mhm.
those things, to me, it is like that layers of the onion type thing. Like, and that's not anything I have to go searching for, but as just life unfolds, it's like a new layer of the onion, which may have been a limiting belief that now I'm just seeing, or a limiting behavior, a limiting perspective. And it comes to the light, in the present moment, because maybe it just shows up at like on a Tuesday at
Mhm.
1 p.m. and it shows up, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see this clearly now. Because, again, as we continue to awaken, one of the ways that I find it helpful to look at is that we're just being, all of our cells, everything about our human existence is being infused with more light. And I always
Mhm.
say, like, when there's more light, there's more awareness. We can see things more clearly, which may be those limiting beliefs or whatnot. And, it's like, yeah, when it just arises, instead of, going into the like, oh, like, how am I messing up my vibration, which to me can be like that quick slip into judgment.
Mhm.
It's more the curiosity, which it sounds like you were talking about with your friends in the van. You're like, okay, you're like, we weren't expecting this, but stuff is coming up. So like, how can we just like let this happen?
Yes, yeah. And yeah, and it wasn't even so much a conversation because everyone on the trip is kind of in that space of awareness, and if someone's crying, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
they, and also I would say, about limiting beliefs or realizing there may be something, an emotion that's releasing or a belief that when you're in these higher vibrations, it moves very quickly. So you can
Mm,
even have the awareness of something and then, oh, boom, it's like released. You don't need to like dig in and analyze it. That actually keeps you entrenched in it more.
mm,
But at this high vibration, like you said, there's more light, there's more energy, things move very quickly. And again, so just allowing yourself to feel it, it moves, and then realizing, oh, there's nothing else I need to do. I don't need to dig into the past, see where that came from, or analyze it. And you can just feel it.
mm,
I've been doing a lot of different processes with myself recently, and even playing with some channeling for myself in the mornings, and I do it some with clients. And I had this shift in a session where I could feel the vibrational shift, and I felt it releasing. And I thought, oh, that just shifted, and it was so quick and so immediate, even to the point when I went back and listened to the recording, because I just use a little voice recorder. Like, I don't even know what happened, but I felt it in the moment. And it's being aware of that vibration. It's being sensitive to the vibration, and realizing, oh, I've shifted, and then not going back. I recently did one of a workshop with Paul Selig, who's another channel, and it was a 5-day online workshop. And they went through this thing of this releasing process. They had you think of something, and they said, now you've been shifted. And it really is that easy. But when you create resistance in your mind of, oh, it really can't be that easy, then you may start to go back into it, or out of habit go back to that thing. But they said, okay, now you've shifted. Know that you've shifted, and be in this new energy, because it's like, okay, you've shifted tracks, you're over here now. Let that momentum carry you. Don't look back and say, oh wait, but I was going over there. Like, just keep following the momentum and keep moving forward.
mm, yeah. Yeah, I recently actually heard, I saw a short video from Bashar on that where it was essentially the same thing that shifting your beliefs actually can be quite easy.
Yeah,
It can be really
yeah.
easy. And the thing that can complicate it is, a story that says, like, this is going to take a lot of
Mhm.
work, like, um, there's going to be so many layers of the onion, it's going to be
Yeah.
complicated, blah, blah, blah. So it's like just that reminder of like, it will follow the directive that you're laying down about it. So, so
Mhm.
if you're saying like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have so much work to do to shift all these beliefs, and it's gonna take a long time. It's like, okay, well then, that's you're literally inviting the experience of that.
Mhm.
Whereas that really like stuck out to me. It's like just start like affirming like, it can be easy to shift
Yeah.
it is easy to shift my beliefs around this subject, whatever it may be. uh, yeah, that really like struck a chord. It's like, yeah, just start saying the way you prefer that it would
Mhm.
be. Like if you want it to be easy, it's like this can be easy.
Yes, absolutely. I think I've heard the same or very similar recording from Bashar of, if you think it's going to be hard, it is. If you
Yeah,
think it's going to be easy, it is. You know,
yeah,
it is all your beliefs and what you're feeling and what you're, what you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just feeling into where it might be nice to go from here. Just yeah, just like any other examples I'm feeling that might be helpful to bring up around this, like just holding desires lightly. Just again, just to provide more examples, because I know we've talked a lot about in theory and also provided some examples, and I do like to just sprinkle in a few more just to be like,
Yeah.
like this, this really does happen. It really can be that easy. And
Hmm.
I was just reflecting on one that comes to me. Another fun example story is that just how when we're really in the allowing state. So, for instance, having fun is a really amazing energy of allowing, and and then also just how we react and respond along the way. So, for instance, I love this story because it just shows how like fun leads to more fun. When we're allowing, when we're really like, oh, this is so fun, I'm having a good time. It's just like it just leads to more and like easy and it can invite that surprise and delight element. And so over the holidays, I was invited to go to kind of like a joint birthday party for my nieces and nephews, and it was an aunt of mine who had set up the party. It was at like a bounce trampoline park, and she had said to me, like, oh, we're doing that next week. She's like, I have a bunch of spaces available in the party, so you could come for free, and like just have fun. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great, because actually I trained as a gymnast all throughout like my teenage years
Hmm.
into my college years, and so I was like, oh yeah, I love trampolines. That would be great. And so I was like, okay, that's fun. That's really really exciting. It was She invited me, I think like on Christmas Day or something. So it's like, oh, that's a gift I wasn't expecting, and that'll be fun, like a real life experience. And so a week or so, maybe like 10 days later, going to the party, when I got there, um, I get up to the counter and I just say, like, hi, I'm so and so, and I'm with this party. And the person at the desk goes, like, oh, well, the way this party package works is there can only be two adult guests. The rest of them have to be kids. So if I were you, I would talk to, the host of the party and make sure that you're definitely one of the adults that gets to, like, gets free. And I was just like, oh, okay, I was not expecting this. And so I was just
Hmm.
like, well, I'm just gonna let go. Like whatever happens, happens. Like I'm just gonna like, okay, if it doesn't end up being what I thought it was, then okay, whatever. I'm just gonna let any attachment go. And so I go over to the party table and, it was asked like, hey, did you sign up? And I said, oh, actually, they told me this is how it actually works. And, my aunt was like, huh, I wasn't expecting that either. And so, then it just, it came down to like, yeah, like I invited you, so I want you to be one of the people. So yes, just like go get your stuff. I was like, okay, okay, yeah, it's still lining up the way initially it was said it would. And I just had so much fun that day, like so much fun. They have like indoor rock climbing there over like these foam pits. So if you fall off the
Hmm.
indoor rock climbing wall, you just fall into a pit. And I was having a blast. And at the end of that party, I was standing there, and one of my sisters, she goes, I have this free hour pass to come back. She's like, I'm not gonna use this. Do you want it? And I was
Hmm.
just like, I was like, whoa, like I was just having fun and like really just enjoying the day, and now I get more of it for free.
Yes,
And
I love
it was
that.
just from to me that vibration of like I love this, I'm having fun, I'm living. And then like what came to me from that like, open allowing energy was like have even more.
Hmm.
Uh
Yeah.
so yeah, just like, just letting things be easy and letting things be a surprise, I feel is important too,
Hmm.
because though we can identify a specific desire and say that would be nice. The other way I do see it work in my experience is, again, when we're enjoying life, when we're following our passions, when we're like indulging in the goodness of life, it's like things can come that we weren't even thinking about. And when they present themselves, you're just like, sounds great.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that reminds me of I was with a friend in Las Vegas, and we were just having a good time, and we were talking about some trips we were going to go on, and we were going to go on the Caribbean cruise together. And she said, "Hey, also if you want to go on the Hawaii cruise with me." And I was like, at that time, I was like, "Oh, let me kind of wait, pause on that one. I'm not sure." And within, it might have been the same day or the next day, I got a notice. Oh, someone is gifting you the Hawaii cruise, so a
Oh,
free room. And so it was so much fun. I was like, ran into the bathroom screaming, and she was like, "Ah, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Look at this, look at this." And then later, we also got upgraded to a royal suite. And so, when you talk about something that I wasn't even thinking about, but just being surprised and delighted, like what a delight that was. That was amazing. And then we had an amazing party in our royal suite and had everyone there. And my friend that I referenced that stayed with me here in Miami Beach, she was there and was playing the ukulele. We had a luau party on the Hawaiian cruise. So that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of surprise and delight.
mm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Yeah, just letting the good stuff flow and that allowing
Mhm.
state. I feel like one more thing I'll bring up, like I'm feeling pretty good about like the recording in general, but just one more thing I want to bring up, and then I'll let you just uh, if anything comes up for you as I'm sharing, or anything else you want to share before we kind of like wrap up. But one thing I just want to offer is I've had a lot of fun just playing again with like just letting things be simple and just watching how when I allow it to be simple, it is simple. So I've just had like fun experiments, if you will. Like I remember last summer, there was probably like at least three times where I just remember like I'm just gonna play with this, like letting it be easy, not having to figure it out, take action, like any of that stuff, just like just like marinate, and that would be nice, and then just like And so I remember like three examples last summer where I just, I was like, I really just would love like I'm plant-based mostly, and so it's like I would love just like plant-based vanilla ice cream. Like that would just be so nice, and just kind of marinate in it for a few seconds and then just like let it go. And I'm not kidding. Each time I did that, because I was just playing for fun, I'm like, let's just like watch how easy this can be. I'm not kidding. One time it happened the same day, like 6 hours later. I think the next two times it happened like one day later and 2 days later. But I'm not kidding. Like each time I got an invite to be like, hey, do you want to go get ice cream on me? And when we got there, one of the options on the menu was vegan vanilla ice cream. So
Oh wow. Nice. I love that. I love that.
yeah, it's like, let's just play. Let's just see how easy this can be.
Mhm. Yes. That's so fun.
Yeah. Anything else that's coming up for you?
Well, one of the talk going back to feelings and being light about things. So I've been doing with this group, we just tune into feelings without an attachment to, we're not trying to create anything. But one of the people in the mastermind the other day, when we had a check-in, had been her birthday the day before, and she said, "I couldn't believe it. I had so many people reaching out to me, telling me happy birthday, people that she used to work with, and praising her, telling her what an amazing job she had done at the company where she had been before." And I said, "Jackie, we've been tuning to loved, appreciated, adored, fun, happy." And so of course it's, so when you're feeling these things and feeling the vibration of it, and you're not even trying to create an outcome. You're just doing it because it feels good. You're doing what feels better, and feeling good to feel good, and then noticing where it shows up for you. And it shows up in so many different ways, and even ways that we don't even notice. And even for her, until she said that, and I brought it to her attention, she's like, "Oh yeah, that's totally true." And she said, it was unlike any other year that she had experienced.
Mm.
So yeah, so I
Yeah.
I, I love that of just feeling good to feel good. And you still have those light desires of the things that you want, but
Yeah.
allow just being in that allowing mode of what feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I remember I brought this through in a very similar way. I'm actually not even remembering how I brought this through in this moment. I have like a transcript of it somewhere, but I do remember the way that uh, Abraham brings it through because I save these quotes on my phone in this little widget of like rotating photos, and so a lot of the quotes like I've memorized because they're like on this rotating. And so the one that's
Mhm.
coming to mind from Abraham is focus on the feelings and let the universe fill in the details.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I love this saying too, allow yourself to be surprised and delighted.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, when you just like allow the feelings, because as you said, the feelings
Mhm.
feel good. It's like we don't know what the physical vibrational match that will be. However, what I found, and I've also brought this through in my transmissions, is that um, when things show up, one of the things that I brought through is that it's really helpful just to notice how they feel. Like if something shows up and just like and it's really nice, enjoyable, satiating, whatever, just pause and be like, okay, how does this experience feel, whatever it is, as it's showing up? And when you really kind of notice how it feels, what I have found, and I brought in through like language about this, is that most likely you can identify that, however it's showing up, however it looks, if you really pay attention to the feeling, most likely you'll be able to go, oh, I've been practicing these feelings.
Yes. Yes.
you
Yes. That's
know
so true. Yeah.
and you're like, and here's the match, like, because it looks
Hmm.
however it looks, but it feels like the feelings that I've been playing with. And so you're like,
Yes.
oh, this is the match. And it's great because it feels like what I've been practicing anyways.
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, and then it amplifies it even
Yeah.
more of like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
delightful.
yeah. Such good stuff. Such good stuff. Yeah, no, this has been really fun. And yeah, I'm glad we've recorded it. And yeah, I'm just so thankful that you've been willing to show up and have fun and play and talk about all this stuff. It's like every time I talk about it, it does like affirm like even more of these uh,
Hmm.
ways that we can be and allow and just let it be easy. Again, just like paying attention to our beliefs and what we're what we're what instructions we're giving to reality.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
and yes, and what you're thinking about on a
yeah,
consistent basis, where your
yeah,
focus is.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Any like closing words before we kind of like sign off here?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I love talking about these things, and I do feel like it helps amplify it even more and lets people know it really can be easy, and it's about getting into that feeling of it. And I'm loving doing this mastermind group. We're doing an 8-week mastermind, and it's so much fun. I know I'll be doing another one soon after, and I'm also going to create a lot of those tuning to emotions and add them to my YouTube so that people can tune into those and get a feel for, oh, what does that feel like? It's easy to do.
Hmm.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you for showing up in service the way that you are. That's
Thank
amazing. I love
you.
that, and yeah, I love hearing your stories about how you're assisting others with these vibrational understandings. And yeah, so if you're curious about either of us, I in the description of this broadcast, I linked my snip feed menu of links, so it's just kind of like one link that brings you to all the different things I have, like podcast, website, all of that. And then I also linked Amanda's main website in the description. And then as soon as I sign off of this live broadcast, I'll make sure to go back and tag Amanda in the description so that you can click over to her Facebook if you want to learn more about her. So yeah, you'll have those resources available. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you're on the replay and you want to leave any comments or reflections or ahas, I love uh, I love seeing those even, after the live transmission. So just know that's available. So thank you for tuning in. Much
Yes,
love
thank
and
you.
many blessings along your path.
All right. Thank you. You too. It was fun.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.